The last one that I look at is upper airway recruitment threshold. How do you get the upper airway dilator muscles to work harder? The human pharynx is unique. It lacks rigid bony support. Depending on the dynamic balance of intraluminal pressure and neural drive to the upper airway dilator muscles, the human pharynx is vulnerable to collapse during sleep. So again, we're talking about the pressure created during inspiration versus the neural drive to the upper airway dilator muscles. How do you get the brain to make sure that the airway muscles are going to open? And there's over 20 muscles in the upper airways. They're involved in respiratory and non-respiratory tasks. And a subset of these muscles play a predominant role in airway stability during sleep. In healthy individuals and people with OSA during wakefulness, activation of the upper airway dilator muscles is effective in opposing the collapsing pressures generated during inspiration. The upper airway dilator muscles have complex patterns of neural activation that differ between the muscles. For example, the genioglossus receives up to 6 different patterns of drive. Now, what are the main neural inputs or messages going to these muscles? They are monitoring carbon dioxide, they are monitoring nitric oxide, they are monitoring lung volume and diaphragm breathing. And you're talking about muscle tone, which of course can be improved with myofunctional therapy. The magnitude of stimuli, both negative pressure and chemostimulation, required to recruit the upper airway dilator muscles adequately to overcome. We need these muscles to work hard, not to be lazy. And if there's poor upper airway muscle responsiveness, it means that the individual is going to stop breathing for a longer period of time. And if you stop breathing for a longer period of time, it increases the severity of sleep apnea, and it feeds back into loop gain, and it's perpetuated. 30% of OSA patients have poor genioglossus muscle responsiveness to airway narrowing during sleep. Do these individuals have their tongue resting in the roof of the mouth during sleep? Or is their tongue falling back into the airways? Many patients have a high recruitment threshold to respiratory stimuli that is not reached without waking from sleep. Conversely, others are able to restore airflow during sleep via the pharyngeal muscle recruitment. This is where myofunctional therapy really comes in, to get these muscles to work harder. The strategies to improve the pharyngeal muscle function can include regular didgeridoo playing or myofunctional exercises, a 50% reduction in the AHI in daytime sleepiness. These muscles we don't exercise. As an adult, and especially as we get older, we lose muscle tone. How do you improve the tone and the effectiveness of these muscles here? We need to work them by doing simple exercises involving the tongue and the throat to get them to work harder. Increased chemoreflex, and we'll move on from that. And nasal breathing is a transmitter between the nose, the pharyngeal muscles, and the lungs. Nose breathing, again, comes back to it as a signaling molecule. And as I said at the start, it's continuously released into the nasal cavity. If you breathe slowly, you'll have a higher concentration of nitric oxide. Your breath hold time also influences how fast you breathe. We want light breathing through the nose, regular breathing, a normal respiratory rate and tidal volume, driven by the diaphragm. Nitric oxide and carbon dioxide, which are influenced by your breathing, are endocrine messengers, plays a role in the maintenance of the muscle tone, regulation of neuromuscular pathways in the pharyngeal muscles, spontaneous respirations and sleep regulation. This was written back in 2014. Nitric oxide on the exhaled breath of a human was only identified in 1991, so it's a relatively new discovery. It does play a role in sleep, although probably and not completely understood. We'll move on. And here is where the diaphragm is coming in, but you will find this more and more. This is 2014 in the Lancet. The lower and upper airways are mechanically linked. So with increased lung volumes, it results in stiffening and dilation of the pharyngeal airway. We need diaphragm breathing, but your nose is essential to that. How can you get your patients to breathe through their noses? One strategy that we do use, one you could use is chin-up strips, or one you could use is lip seal tape. There's different tapes on the market. Small clinical trial, 35 children with mouth breathing with asthma, aged between 7 and 12 years of age. Breathing re-education has significantly improved the scores on sleep disturbances, wakefulness disorders, sleep-wake transition, and lung function. People coming into you with poor breathing, they also have poor sleep. We can teach this to children very young. This is looking at the effect of the exercises on the nose, the snot test, the nasal obstruction symptom evaluation, which was developed at Stanford, a reduction of 70% of symptoms by just teaching breathing exercises, reducing snoring, reducing the trouble falling asleep, and reducing or improving the ability to breathe through the nose. So symptom improvement in terms of ENT, this was a 3-month follow-up, 70% reduction of symptoms just by practicing different exercises. Of course, I'm going to finish at this. We do need more research. Nobody has looked at the relationship between minute ventilation and OSA. We are crying out for research in this field. It has to, if you really think about it, if you're breathing fast and hard during sleep, you are going to contribute to collapse of the upper airways. How you breathe during the day is going to influence how you breathe during sleep. And normalization of breathing pattern during wakefulness, it'll carry into sleep. So I'm going to finish at that. I'm going to wrap up by just a take home. Nasal breathing is essential day and night. Light breathing is essential day and night. Diaphragm breathing is essential day and night. Thanks very much.